Legion of Superheroes Millennium, issue 2. Brian Michael Bendis writing with Jim Chung, Jeff DeCal, Nicholas Scott, and Ryan Sook on the art. Once again, it's jumping through time periods, and with each time period difference, we get a different artist. So once again, it's Rose, and she is traveling through. Well, so I say traveling. She's literally just living through all these time periods.
Living through all these times,
Yeah.
and the first one, she goes to the Space Museum. As soon as I saw the Space Museum, I got very excited.
Of course you did.
Because I know who worked at the Space Museum. And I was like, am I going to get him? And sure as hell, there's John Michael Carter, or Michael John Carter, I always flip him, working as a security guard, and she gets to interact with Booster. So, and we also get some really cool Nicholas Scott art with like history of the DCU playing out.
Yeah, at one point they're walking past like holograms that are doing like Green Lantern, like, you know, holding his ring up, Justice League fighting Starro, classic Batman and Robin, then Shazam, you know, doing his, you know, lightning strike.
And you got Superman versus Doomsday and the JSA meeting, and then Crisis with the death of Supergirl, and stuff. So that's all real cool. But they're basically having a conversation about what it was like during that Age of Heroes. And Rose is basically like, no, it's not as great as you thought it was. Like, they were all liars. And she's all just very down.
Yeah, how did you feel about the running gag here with Booster?
Friends?
Yeah, talking about Friends and talking about the Bing show.
I loved it as the fact that I enjoy Friends from time to time. And if Booster's going to relate to a character, of course it's Chandler, you know, and so him butchering all the stuff from, you know, this very old show and whatnot, I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, his last page, he actually says, like, could I be any more of a superhero? Like, you know, like, this whole thing. So yeah, and then we go further in time, of course, or as the book refers to it as "and then," which I'm not gonna lie, even now, I hear "and then," and all I can hear is the drive-through. Dude, where's my car?
Where's my car?
Yeah.
And then and then.
Oh dear, and we got OMAC, who's powered by Brother Eye.
Here's my problem with OMAC and Brother Eye. I know that DDO has such a thing for this character, and I can't get past it. I'm sure OMAC's a great concept, but I just, I don't know. I heard Brother Eye, and I thought that was pretty cool. But you see OMAC take out all these people. He's in the middle of a war zone. He's trying to evacuate the city. He calls out Brother Eye, but he hits around the corner, and there's Thorn looking all like Future War. Like, I definitely got Terminator vibes here.
Yeah, it shows like she's in Mad Max or something like that, yeah.
Yeah. And they have a discussion about, you know, you're waging this war and you're destroying everything, but why? You know? And he's like, oh, because we have to and whatnot. And she's like, oh, I've seen a whole bunch of stuff. And she starts talking about heroes again, like she was with Booster.
Yeah, I mean, this issue largely is her losing hope and then kind of finding it again.
Yeah.
That's essentially the gist. This is the Jim Chung art of the book.
Yeah.
Which is not bad. I mean, I feel like Chung's faces sometimes feel a little like a very minor
blocky.
They feel like just almost slightly John Romita Jr.-esque at times. Just a little bit. Like, there's a little bit to the mouth sometimes. Yeah. But he's much better. Don't get me wrong. He is miles better.
Well, that's what I mean. They're very blocky. Like, I feel like every character has a square head, even when it's rounded. So,
yeah. Of course, though, my favorite art of the book was the next section. Yeah. Because holy shit, this space stuff when she's got the spacesuit on.
My only problem is it doesn't seem to match anything else. Like, it's so good, but then the format changes to fit the art.
Yeah, it's so different, and it's just this narration. It's not got the boxes anymore. It's just her sort of writing in a journal. Although it does switch between green and pink text, the green being Thorn instead of Rose.
Yep.
But it's so beautiful. Like, it is stunning to look at. Please, more of this art somewhere, please.
Yeah, but no, this art, And I don't want to say like I didn't enjoy it, because I did enjoy it, but it took me out just because the entire structure changes. But it shows that as she went out to space, the further she got, the more she felt it was much like Earth.
Yeah.
And like, oh, there's crime lords even far out here, and Thorne takes care of
But
them.
she also feels that she's the alien. She's like realizing that, hey, I'm not
Yeah,
the
yeah,
normal
yeah.
one out here. Like I am the alien. But
Right.
I think this is why it worked for me. This art change is because it felt more cosmic, and she's like flying in space. And there's that last page of this where she's like this little tiny part of the full page spread, and there's like sort of the face like in the sort of the celestial light that's coming off the sun or whatever it is. It's really beautiful, but it was very 2001, and it kind of feels like this cosmic odyssey she's on.
Yeah.
I think that tonal shift worked for me because it felt like, no, this is a very spiritual part of her journey, whereas everything before now, it's been kind of very circumstantial as to just what the world's become, or whatever world she's on, because she's had to flee elsewhere. So then the final story, of course, is she's decides to come back to what is now Earth, although Earth's not a planet anymore. It's like a kind of artificial series of pods
Yeah.
in
So
formation.
there's a core, and almost what looks like a low key atmosphere around part of it. But yeah, all of them are kind of attached to this almost electricity coming off of the core.
Yeah, it's all
Um,
these little domes that are
right.
basically cities coming out of the core. It's called
Hmm.
New Earth, and the art here is fantastic. This is the Sook art, right?
Hmm.
Like this is good. That 2 page layout where she's walking through the city. Once
Yep.
she's landed is great, and then she walks in. We got a full page, 2 page spread. The Legion of Superheroes, Superboy's there,
Yep.
which ties into what we've been building up to and all
What
that
Bendis is
stuff.
doing. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's all really good. Um, and there's a lot of them just kind of talking to each other and kind of introducing the team and
Hmm.
whatnot. And she's basically like in the last page is just a full page spread of her saying, "Sorry to interrupt, but my name is Rose Forrest, and I have come a long way because I have a great deal to share with you." So clearly, she's going to be a part of the Legion in the
Yep.
main book, and this kind of sets up what the universes went through in the time between current day DCU and the start of Legion of Superheroes. So that's really cool, and this was a nice little 2 issue thing, just kind of like almost giving that time gap a better personality. Like I feel like that's kind of
Yeah.
the point of this, where like I understand, like I mean it's easy to say, oh, it's 1,000 years in the future, right? But
Right.
this gives that like some sort of context where I'm like, oh, all these
Right.
things happened in that
Well,
1,000 years.
and like when we're in the booster section, he's talking about how the Earth's been destroyed, and civilizations restarted twice up to that point, and what would have happened if we hadn't. And that's where Rose starts talking about, well, that's why superheroes are a liar, because they say they're all about this good, but really, what good are they doing?
Hmm.
And so I feel like Ben is streamlining all of these timelines to all be one, instead of them being alternate histories.
And I can totally see some of them coming back up in context to
Yeah,
stories in Legion.
yeah.
I can totally see that.
Hmm.
I love the
So,
world building that's happening here. I think the art is pretty great across the board. Obviously, you may have different favorites or
mhm.
whatever, but most of them I was really into. Chung's probably my least favorite, but he's still really good. So
Mhm.
hard to really be complaining about that. Um, no, I really like this, and I like this 2 issue little mini just to kind of tease it. But I get why that it's not 1 and 2 of the main book. I get why it's separate because it is just this little 2 issue thing, going through all the time periods as opposed to actually doing whatever the first story is going to be of Legion. So it makes sense. It makes sense to be separate.
Yeah.
Uh, so no, yeah, I'm into it. I'm into, and this has invested me so much in Rose and Thorne as a character. Like when we
Yep.
start Legion now, and she's a part of that team, I'm going to at least have her and the Superboy that I'm already invested in before I have to get to know, the rest of the characters, and before Bendis like takes his time to really kind of establish his Saturn Girl or his Lightning Lad or his whoever.
Hmm.
And that's good. No. How are you feeling about it? I mean, did you like these 2 issues?
No, I did. I'm a little distracted because I'm going through trying to find out what else he's worked on, but it's mainly just been covers.
Cool.
So the fact that he got to do some like interior art, that's real cool. No, I really liked it. I love alternate histories and futures and the Legion. So the fact that we got there and that now, Rose and Thorn, this character that I've grown a fondness for, is going to be mixing in with Superboy and the Legion. That's pretty cool. And she got to interact with Booster. And we got all these fun timelines.
And
like she's seen some stuff.
And again,
So,
we have like Superboy coming from Superman into Legion, and then we also have Rose and Thorn been introduced again in Action Comics and into Millennium, which leads into Legion. Like Bendis has clearly done a good job of like doing this. In fact, there's even a joke in the museum part I think about Wonder Twins merch being on sale,
being sold.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
and you see them in the background.
In
one of the holograms. So yeah, no, it's good. But yeah, the Nicola Scott art, though, I mean, it was right in my wheelhouse. I already liked her art so much, and now you're going to give it, to Booster in that section and let her play with the history of the DC universe with all the holograms.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's real cool. And then you get to that other stuff with Tikal that's, like, really good, but it's so different. And I like that this book takes chances.
Yeah.
Like that,
No, it's very good. So what are you rating it, Matt?
8.5.
Yeah, I'll agree with 8.5. I was tempted to go with a 9. I'm so tempted. Yeah. And the only reason why I'm not going higher is that it doesn't have as much of a story to sort of, say this is a great story from start to finish that has like a beginning, middle, and end. It doesn't really have that. It's not that type of book. But so for that, I will not go as high as a 9, but 8.5 for sure.